I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
David Pate will bring us for invocation today.
Can you hear me okay? All right. Bow with me, please. Dear Lord, I just thank you for this day that we can come together and be Rotarians and do good works all through the world. Be with us here in our local area, state, and national governments. Take care of them, help them to make good decisions that will help our United States of America and also the world. Dear Lord, be with our guests that are visiting from Ireland, that they may have safe travels and enjoy their stay here in the United States. Bless due to the nourishment of our body and that nourishment to the good works we do. Amen.
Thank you, David. Family of Rotary, dear Dothan.
Thank you very much, Alan. This is short and sweet today. We're going to celebrate David Dancy's anniversary today, March 10th. Yeah, and on birthdays, we're going to celebrate my birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday to me. Hope you'll have a great week. Happy birthday.
Well, let's go ahead and do camp assets. Stephanie Crook. Somebody else to draw. One of my guests. Our total points for today are 407. Thanks, Stephanie. Ticket number 140810. Larry.
So, see, I told you. I want you right.
Next time, Larry. Good job. Introduction of guests, Brad Parrish.
Good afternoon. We have several guests today. We are very happy to welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all visitors are recognized. Our first guest today is Eric Vaughn. He is a guest of Adam Hull. Next, we have Jennifer Wells, guest of Bruce McNeil. Jansen Whitehead, guest of Bruce McNeil. And Micah Johnson, also a guest of Bruce McNeil. We also have Tim Goodwin, guest of Dell Goodwin. Ryan Deaton, guest of Alan Richards. And Scott Devers, guest of Bruce McNeil. We also have two special guests today, coming all the way from, I'm assuming this is across the pond, not Ireland, Alabama. Christopher Nile and Mark Chataway, welcome to Dothan, Alabama. Welcome to all of you. Thanks so much.
If our guests from Wexford can come forward. How are you doing? Good to have you here. Dothan Rotary Club would like to present you with our district and local banner. Dothan, Alabama, Rotary Club.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
The Rotary Club of Wexford Islands would like to present you with our.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. And that's what Rotary's all about.
Absolutely, fellowship and friendship.
Any comments you would like to make?
Mine's got a story. It's about explaining why we're here. So, believe it or not, I went to Troy State University. I was corrected. I said Troy University. And I was corrected. So it's true. I went to Troy State about 40 years ago, and I was here for a fraternity reading. I dragged him along this weekend. So that was kind of the excuse for coming and doing a little loop around the South. And I have to say, Dothan is completely unrecognizable. I was last year in 1980, and I drove into Dothan, so Google must have brought us to the wrong place. And then I saw the Piggly Wiggly. But, thank you for the welcome.
Greg, if you would like to come up and make an announcement about Rotary Law.
Thank you, President Allen. Oh, Vice President, standing in for President.
Now, Greg, just remember, Greg Pate is running a little bit late, so you have some time to
Wonderful.
Bring in dance.
I'm here to announce the third annual Rotary Miracle Field Charity Ball, which this year goes by the theme Derby After Dark. It has been a black tie affair in the past. This year, black tie's fine, suit's fine, or derby attire for those of you who are wanting to wear your seersucker suits. I'm supposed to order one this week. The proceeds all go to the Miracle Field. The ball is May the 3rd. That's the first Saturday in May, the day of the Kentucky Derby. And of course, we'll have a meal, live band, and we are going to make a big push on tickets. Our committee will be calling everyone in Dothan, Alabama in the next 2 weeks, not this week, but starting 2 weeks after that. And so expect our call. There are brochures that give the options for different support levels. So that's all I've got. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Greg. Bruce, would you like a few moments?
Thank you, Alan. Our speaker got delayed by the press. They want to know something about the current administration's decisions on economic issues. And he was coming, but he'll be a few minutes late. But we got some guests here that actually came specifically here, Commissioner Pate, and I want them to just tell us again who they are, what agency they're representing, and maybe something about the agency if you have time.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Hello, everybody. My name is Scott Evers. I own a company called Tapchin Solutions, a private sector company in the agricultural technologies industry here in the Wiregrass area. We serve farmers, helping them keep an eye out for their crops, learning new technologies and implementing their fields and resources, and also trying to serve as a voice for collective good for agricultural production. Thank you.
Continue on. Yeah.
Good to see you.
I'm like a John. director for all the university extension. Our office put together agricultural workshops in Houston County. My job is to coordinate those workshops and coordinate agricultural classes, workshops. These that may arise agriculturally, we provide research facts.
I'm Jennifer Wells, and I work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in the Natural Resources Conservation Program here in Houston.
My name is Jansen Whitehead. I also work for the USDA for the Farm Service Agency, and we administer various farm programs that deliver much needed economic relief to producers.
I'll just do it from down here. You can come anywhere you want to, if you want to speak from there or here. But Commissioner Pate, was walking out of his office and one of the news media captured him and wanted some comments regarding some of the issues going on in the industry. But Rick, we're so happy to have you here. I'm going to do a quick bio and just turn it over to you. We never tried over we're glad to welcome our fellow Rotarian, by the way, Commissioner of Agriculture and Industries, Rick Pate. He grew up on his family's cattle and poultry farm in Lowndes County. And, you know, because of his roots in agriculture, he studied ornamental horticulture and received his bachelor's degree in '78 from Auburn's University College of Agriculture. He started a landscaping company in '82, and he owned a purebred Charolais herd. I had to get somebody to pronounce that for me because it's not spelled that way. After the death of his father in 2012, he also took over the family cattle operations, made Charolais Ranch. In 1996, he joined Lounsboro Town Council and served as mayor in 2004. Rick Pate was elected commissioner of the Alabama Department of Agriculture and Industries in 2018, and he had 4 Republican oppositions. He was reelected in 22 without oppositions, and that's always fun in the direction. He served as the president of the Alabama Associated General Contractors, ACC, in 2015 and was appointed life governor of ACC of America. In 2022, Commissioner Pate was inducted in the Alabama Construction Hall of Fame, and in 2023 into the Alabama Livestock Hall of Fame. He served as president of the Montgomery Auburn Alumni Club and is a lifetime member of the Auburn Alumni Association. He endowed a scholarship at Auburn University for Lowndes County residents. Pate has been a member of the Montgomery Rotary Club since 1987 and served as president in 2011-2012. He's married to the former Julie Dismuke since 1989, and they have 2 grown sons, Richard and James. So let's give a warm Dothan Rotary welcome, Commissioner Rick Pate.
All right, well, can you hear me? Yeah, well, good to be with you here today. I'm talking late, yeah. You know, we've learned in most businesses that if you don't write the response or say what you think needs saying, then somebody else will write it for you. You need to go not be right. And so when I got that call from the reporter with CBS, and I closed up. But anyway, and you need to read this stuff for yourself because I'm not gonna read to you. I know that everybody in front can, but anyway, so I thought it was important because everybody's concerned about what the current administration is doing with the tariffs and how it's going to impact agriculture. To be honest, we really don't know. It seems like the other day they changed what the tariffs going to be and who they're going to be against, but we certainly know that I'm actually serving this last year and this year, the president of the Southern United States Trade Association, and we certainly know that we've had to make a lot of good deals lately. And so there's gonna have to be a little bit of pain, I feel like, to get people back to the table and get things back fair to American farmers and whatnot. But, yeah, you know, so many, the EU has done so much against us, that really you can tell targeted against us with their foreign support program. You got countries like India that hardly will take any American ag products, because of their protectionism. But anyway, we're pivoting. Obviously, we've traditionally been a net exporter. Agriculture has always been a plus but the last 3 years, and not all because of the past administration, some just because we were pivoting away from China, but we were actually a net, we're not a net positive exporter anymore. You know, everybody probably wants to ask me about the price of eggs or price of food, but I always continue to you, if you take that box of Tide and that toilet paper and everything out of there, it's not as bad as it looks sometimes, but really, food is a great value. And so, but we have, and during COVID, you know, there were some shortages, but I could tell they were always had to do with supply side issues. I knew during COVID, I told our staff, I said, you can say whatever you want to say, the answer has got to include 3 words. Food supply is safe, it's abundant, and it's sustainable. And I knew that if you could clear the shelves off, we could resupply. We just recently, about a month ago, stood up this new initiative, talking about COVID a little bit. You know, during COVID was the first time I really saw people start to think, where did that food didn't just run in this grocery store, jump up on that shelf? Somebody had to grow it or raise it, or where did it come from? Because, you know, we grew up seeing pictures in Russia, people having tickets to get bread, and you stand in line to get up there, there's no bread. And so that's really never been an American experience. And so, but it really wasn't because we were short anything. We just had some supply side issues. But anyway, we're going to try to make people pause. We got about a year or two, and get the governor to sign today to thank the farmer. I've actually been in Washington talking to our congressmen and senators about it, and really try to make people realize there's somebody out there. And particularly it's important now because our row crop farmers are really struggling, had a really bad year too. But I think this is a little clip we did for how do I play it? That's good enough. Huh?
Playing, but there's you.
You wake up and you ain't got enough to eat, you got one problem. That's what am I gonna eat? In the United States, it's safe, it's abundant, and it's sustainable. I mean, you're not gonna get pineapples or bananas, but we can fill you up with a good nutritious meal with what we grow here. Everybody's jobs are. Farmers, we got to have them every day, and how do I begin to make people appreciate it? So every once in a while, if you see somebody that's known the farmer, maybe pick up their lunch if they're in a restaurant. But yeah, thank people. I mean, most people like to go into farming if they don't enjoy it, but you know, there's no sustainability without profitability. Now, all I started to see that a little bit during COVID, that people actually appreciate the people who grew the food and fed them, because they realized it didn't just show up magically, show up in the grocery store. Somebody had to grow it, raise it. Said over and over again, you know, we gotta have some sort of routine. Say, well, you need farm 3 times a day, but you need multiple 3 times a day or twice a day after you eat. So that's an easy way somebody can show the support, and just go to the website. You can see that and just sign your name, say you appreciate farmers. You want to thank a farmer, and so I mean, we are so blessed in this country, I just want people to, for halfway appreciate it every now and then. So next time it sits down for a meal, remember, thank you for. And of course, I've been listening to the Fox ride down here today, and all the stuff with RFK about things we're putting in our food and whatnot. And of course, the people would buy local. We stood up and we'll talk a little bit about it. But, you know, and not buy all this processed food that's coming from overseas. It's a lot healthier. Here's a few things about Alabama's agriculture. There's about 250,000 people work in it, 1 out of every 10 jobs, which y'all are probably aware, half the peanuts in the United States are raised within 100 miles of here. Thing that always surprises people is we process 23 million chickens a week, and people just don't realize, you know, there's 5 million people live here, processing 23 million. That's such an intricate, large industry. Of course, forestry is so huge, you know, I tell people, I was speaking to a group like the Chamber of Commerce or some group, and I said, I don't know who thought of recycling paper. We're probably planting 50% more trees than we're cut down in the state of Alabama. We're never gonna run out of trees, I promise. But we're sucking, broiler production, sucking catfish, sucking deep trees, that's it. And so when I first got there that first year, I knew people wanted to buy local, and they sometimes even thought to were buying local. And y'all are pretty far removed from it, but I'm gonna tell you a secret. There's a place in Birmingham on Bean Avenue. You get up in the morning, get up at midnight, drive up there, get to Birmingham about 3 a.m. You can load your truck with tomatoes that were grown in Mexico. You can put strawberries that were grown in Arizona and watermelons in California. Drive back to Dothan, put them overall on, draw a hat and sit. People would assume they were buying locally grown products, and that does not. And so we saw that people wanted, and so that first year, I guess it was 2019, we stood up at Brands, Sweet Grove, Alabama. And so that if you see that logo, you know that it was grown in Alabama. We don't even let Conecuh sausage, because that pork comes from my state. We didn't, because Golden Flakes doesn't manufacture here anymore, but they used to, but they imported it out of other states. And so you have to be grown here to be able to use that logo. And of course, forestry, what I was just talking about, to read that fourth one down, 83% more tons are grown each year than target. I mean, I was at a forestry meeting about 6 months ago, and the executive director of the Alabama Forest Association said, we didn't plant another pine tree for 50 years with half enough capacity in the state to meet all of our demand. I mean, it's just amazing what we're planting, the pine tree. And of course, this is from a slide I put together by country bankers. So they gave me my topic. Y'all didn't give me my topic today. They let me talk about what I want, but they told me I had to talk about sustainable agriculture. And so I started researching them, but I put those 3 questions on there. And so you got to answer all 3 of those to say it's sustainable. So one, I don't know what, I know things happened in the 40s, 1940s, 1950s, that people were putting stuff out that was bad for the soil, bad for the air, bad for water. That does not go on anymore. If you go to a farmer federation meeting, a council meeting, people love to stand up and say, I'm a 5th generation farmer, or I'm 4th generation. Everybody's trying to improve that soil health, and nobody's trying to ruin that soil, because if you do, it's not going to continue to produce good yields. And then the second question you got to ask, does it work for the farmer to grow something that he can sell for more than it costs him to grow it? And then the last thing he's got to decide, you know, is it a price point that y'all would pay for it? And so until you can answer all 3 of them, you don't, you're not sustainable. But anyway, we pretty much are have sustainable agriculture. You know what I said earlier about telling your story. I guess 5 years ago, all of those organizations decided we're all mixed messages. If we're going for a year, every month, we're gonna have the same message. This is how we take care of the soil. These are the cover crops we planted. And so all those, whatever it is, 8 or 9 organizations, for a year, we tried to send out monthly the same message. And we called that program Down to Earth. There's some more things, and of course, y'all just don't realize, you know, and I don't care if you want to buy organic, non-GMO, to buy it from somebody from Alabama. We got people who grow organic here, but I'm just telling you, it takes 110 million more acres to grow what we grow to feed this country and people out of this country. If we tried to grow it organically, it takes so many more acres. We don't even have enough chicken litter to grow that much more that we'd have to start growing. Anyway, but, and of course, this is something I really talk more about when I'm in Baldwin County, Huntsville. I was speaking to a group of Huntsville leaders, but I just wanted said, we're gonna set a pause because they're saying, and by 2040, we're gonna have lost another 545,000 acres, another 3,300 farms, and it might be inevitable. There might not be anything I can do to stop it, but I just want us to realize what we're doing. We're paving over some of our best farmland in Baldwin, Madison, Limestone County. We spent a fair amount of time researching with all these agricultural preservation groups that a farmer that maybe wants to voluntarily put his land in an agriculture easement, you know, maybe it's a guy that farmed in his family 100 years, and that's a lot of that. We've got people 200, and he knows his grandkids are gonna sell that as soon as he dies. You know, we'd pay him, put it in agriculture easement in certain circumstances. I'm convinced, when I first went in 6 years ago, everything was about organic and non-GMO. During COVID, they pivoted, in my mind, to animal agriculture. And there's people out there that do not want us to eat meat. And they want you to get your proteins and lentils and beans and other sources of protein. And so I see a lot of attacks on animal agriculture. You know, and even the beef industry, how much more efficient we are than we were a few years ago. And of course, here's what a grocery store looked like during COVID. And if you can't see it, everything on the left beyond meat or whatever you call it, and that's all plant-based meat. And I mean, you look on the right side, there's no even South meat. I mean, the feet are gone. Everything's gone beyond meat. And of course, I get asked every day about drinking raw milk. Do not drink raw milk, people. I think in the first line, milk-borne outbreaks are responsible for 25% of all disease outbreaks linked to infected food. Right now, we got this whole thing going on in avian influenza. It's gotten into mammal clams, dairy cattle. Yeah, but anyway, I told them we don't regulate people food. We regulate animal food. And so you can buy raw milk as pet food. But I was talking to one of my inspectors, and he goes, well, you know, we don't tell you not to eat dog food. So if you buy pet food, drink it, I guess that's on you. But nobody's going to stop you from it. So that's telling you a little bit more about sweet grown and what we did with that. We currently got over 4 farms. I will say this, because some of y'all will do this. Most of the old timers like Bruce probably won't, but if you go on your phone right now, or when you get back to the office, put in there sweetgrownalabama.org, and then it'll bring up a screen and it'll ask you, what are you looking for? And you can put in there whatever. We're gonna pass you out, I think, some stuff, but something that we grow about 27 things in Alabama that USDA will pay for feed the school children. And but then it'll ask you what your zip code is, and you're gonna be shocked at how many places there are about local food around you. And so that ability's there. And so, you know, we'd ask you to take advantage of it as local farmers. We know that fruit like it's picked in Mexico and California is gonna be in a truck or warehouse for 17, 18 days before you get it. and gets home. We know that if you buy local food, it's gonna be picked that day or the day before. And we're gonna talk about that a little. So you know it tastes better. You know it's better for you. You know it helps the local farmer. Just so many good things. All right, so I'll give Paul, Lee was there. One of the things we thought when COVID hit was that what an opportunity if y'all gonna send all the kids home and we would still keep feeding them. Let's get out, we had stood up sweet grown the year before, well, let's get them eating local food. Well, we started looking at child nutritionists and what was going on, they weren't buying anything local. I mean, and you think about it, I thought child nutrition, and they might be here in Houston County, but would be so much around my county, but like Montgomery child nutrition might be from Atlanta or Memphis. And they didn't go into it because they necessarily came from a farm background. And so they were really buying almost nothing local. And so we stole idea from somewhere up north, Minnesota, Michigan, went to the legislature, and I was there, and I said, let's just try this, give me $125,000. And I'll reimburse the child nutrition a quarter every time they feed one Alabama child, one local product. Well, that don't sound like much, but they're feeding tens of thousands of meals a month. And we didn't even require them to fill out any paperwork. They could just mail us the receipt. And so I could do the math and know that 125 divided by a quarter would be 500,000 children, Alabama school children, that first year they got homegrown product. And so, but what we realized happened, and get our money in October, by February, I was out of money, well, people kept buying. It wasn't really that we had to reimburse them, is that I had to show them how to do it, you know, and I couldn't have done it without sweet grown Alabama, because then I could find what they wanted locally. And so that became 200,000. We also realized, though, if they didn't notice I ran out of money, they won't notice if I cut them. And so, hopefully no child nutrition's in here, but that second year we cut them from a quarter to 20 cents. But we did give them one bonus. We didn't serve up to 2 Alabama products to the child and get 40 cents. So that worked. Well, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. We'll just go on. So this is going back to the beginning of COVID. I don't remember how much, Paul, you might remember how much the governor got, but we went to the governor and said, carve out some of that money, you know, billions of dollars or 100 million for agriculture. She gave me 26.9 million. And of course, we did a lot of real creative things to get that money to Alabama farmers. I mean, like the poultry, the second one to the last. Well, the poultry farmer doesn't own the chickens, so he's never gotten anything, you know, the poultry company. But we created this algorithm we just made up out of the blue and said a normal poultry farmer is going to go 18 days between flocks. When he harvests, when they come get his bird, he's got time to. And so we built a formula based on the square footage of his houses. That if it was 20 days, he got paid for those extra 2 days, because a lot of times there are profits in that last batch of the year. And so if they miss a whole batch in the year. But anyway, we did a lot of real creative things. All right, this is the slide I was looking for. So when the legislature gave me that money, we looked at it after a year, and what had happened, the Vestavias and Hoovers and Madison, Baldwin County, all the real aggressive school systems got the money. So who didn't get it? Like, I'm from Lowndes County, he has a big gold zero, you know, Dallas County, Suffolk County. And so we found this pot of money in Washington at USDA, and we got 11.3 million, and we were able to go back and give that to food banks all over the state, not food banks. And I'm talking about, I was down here speaking. Is that guy with the food bank here now? Somebody stood up with the food bank. You want to say what you said that day to me? Do you remember?
I want to say that was probably the smartest program government has ever instituted, because we got the food directly from the farm. And like you said, it didn't have to travel around in trailers for 2 weeks. It was fresh, it was local. Everybody loved everything about it.
Well, and see, what he's saying is, you know, they're not gonna take rotten fruits and vegetables, but they can see rotten in the next week or so, you know, or see it. I mean, we give them stuff to pick that day or the day before, so it just gives them a demand to so much more time to deal with that, get it out. And then we got that money, and then I found this other problem. And that was called LFS. And so I told you earlier about the fluid school system getting all that money. Well, we could target schools that had at least 50% of the kids on reduced lunches. And so you can see some of the things we were able to buy and give to Alabama school children in some of the poorer schools. This is something we just finishing up. We got the maximum grant to USD, but they decided, somebody in Washington, I guess, decided that too much of the meat, and it is consolidated in the Midwest, and that was part of the reason we didn't have beef and stuff on the shelves like we should, because it's all out there. And so they created this program for us to stand up more meat processing in Alabama, and so we could use that money to expand anybody that's doing its facility, buy new equipment. Couldn't pay off a loan, but other than that, we just awarded that 15 million. This is another one I think we created. So when we got so neck deep in the fruits and vegetables in particular, we realized we got plenty of people want to grow it, and plenty of people want to eat it. What I didn't have was that guy in the middle that was willing, like a school, would like a strawberry quarter. Now that is not real high tech mechanization to quarter, even if you had to take a knife and do it, and they want it in a cup, looks like that. So it's not very much processing, but we just didn't have that in Alabama. And so this 6.54 million, it was targeted to that middle part of the food supply chain. And so we've been able to make, that was actually a grant program. And so we could match them 1-to-1. The other was a low interest loan, meat. This is money that came down here, so I'm glad that slide's in there. But you remember Hurricane Michael hit really right before I went in office. I went in January of 2019. Well, so Senator Purdue came down here. I forget whose farm we were at, but anyway, I hadn't actually been inaugurated yet, but I'd already been elected. And so the president said, or Senator Purdue said, we'll just give it to you as a block grant. I thought, well, that is beautiful. You know, this is President Trump, Senator Purdue, give it to me. I know the farmers. We know the farmers. We know it's been damaged. That makes so much more sense than people in Washington try to decide who can get it. But even though they tried, it still took them 4 years. I think we administered in 2021, and the money had so many rules to it. I don't even think we gave all the money away that we got. There was another pot of money, $200,000. We don't really do seafood, but Alabama got a disproportionate amount of seafood processing for the amount of coastline we have in this state. And so that was some money that came back for seafood processors for PPEs and stuff they had to do for another pot of money I found was that we were seeing trends in rural Alabama and rural America. People were struggling with mental health issues higher in rural areas than were in urban areas. And you say that because farmers already were solitary, then you shut down everybody's church, you shut down everybody's school, you put sort of hanging, but the program was designed not to be mental health experts, because obviously we couldn't do that, but we partnered with Department of Mental Health and really went out and talked Alpha in the farm credit organizations and banks and anybody that dealt with farmers, just like CPR to farmers. What kind of questions you'd want to ask somebody that was struggling, and then they could get the help they needed. Operation Grow, some money I gave to Extension to really partner for veterans. We seeing some statistics that veterans farming, or not farming like cotton farming, but I'm saying growing a garden, raising a couple of cows, a couple of goats, really good for people. So we'll partner with a veteran to stay with him for Extension will. I'll give him the money to teach, but up to 5 years, we'll write him a business plan and all that. And this is kind of blowing. How am I doing time wise?
Got 15 more minutes.
Oh, I start doing stories in a minute. But anyway, so anyway, we're gonna go over the 6 things we kind of do. We have to do everything I talked to you about up to now was something fun that we did. That was not part of my job description, not part of anybody's that doing the job description. We just did it. But this is what we have to do. And so, honestly, I talked to you about the 23 million chickens, the cow calf business in the state of Alabama, huge economic impact on the state and really holds a lot of our rural communities together. And so we operate. In fact, I'm heading there when I leave here to Elba to look at our diagnostic lab there. We've got diagnostic labs in Auburn, Boaz, Elba, Hansville, and because we're kind of looking for that thing like COVID. I mean, we know what we know as far as what disease is out there. You're looking to see if chickens are dying from something you had never seen them for, and see what we're gonna do. Of course, anyway, it's a huge responsibility. But I tell people that we got named agriculture and industry, but you really should have called us either agriculture and consumer protection or agriculture and truth in advertising. And you'll see why when I talk about it a little more. So people don't realize we've got the responsibility of food safety and ag compliance. The Food Safety Modernization Act makes sure fruit and vegetables are being handled correctly. But we have the lab that tests for like a bag of fertilizer. We don't care what you put on. You put 888, you put 1406, but it better be. Those numbers are supposed to represent nitrogen, phosphoric acid, and potash. And so you got to put on there what that, and the same way with all that other stuff. With lime, when seeds, a bag of seed a farmer buy would say, let's just say it says 94% of the seeds germinate. Well, if 65% germinate, he done lost a third of his field. And by the time he realized that, he tried to come back and plant. So we actually have a seed lab in Montgomery. We pull samples of all those seeds that are sold. We bring them back to our seed lab and we germinate. And like I said there again, I don't care what you put on the bag, you just got to do what you say. And so, but like I think it uses the word truth in the label. We check for protein, fat, fiber, and but yeah, huge responsibility. And of course, most of the time I speak after somebody's eating, a lunch or supper, and so I think you have to pause sometimes and say we have an amazing food supply system in this country. It's so safe. It would leave it might leave, if 5 of y'all got deathly ill what you ate, they'd lead on the national news. It just, unless it's a Baptist potluck supper, we don't do those. But if you buy it at the grocery store or it's sold to a restaurant, we have a responsibility. And lots of other things, people hear words like EPA and FDA, they don't really operate in states. We're under cooperative agreements with them and USDA to do all this stuff. And so they're paying us to do it. We don't get that money. I guess it comes from y'all to Washington, and then it comes back down to us. Shipping point, I'm gonna actually go by shipping point in Enterprise on my way to Boaz when I leave here. And because we do all the grading of peanuts and chicken for aflatoxins for peanuts. That actually division is I won't say profitable because we're not trying to make a profit, but it's self-sustaining. We don't add money to it. They charge for what they do to pay their own bills. But there again, pesticide management, people don't realize we register every pesticide that's sold in the state of Alabama. You cannot bring pesticides in the state and start selling them without us checking them out, like us putting them through the lab. We license and we think it's dangerous enough. Who can use those pesticides? Everybody's familiar with fire ants. Well, fire ants came to the automobile. Back then they didn't have, I think it was the 40s, maybe 50s, but we didn't have the protection. And so the plants that had the ants in them just got shipped all over the place. And so, but now you couldn't send soil across state lines without it being treated with a drench or being certified free, not just fire ants. It didn't have anything like that. The plants have to be inspected. We inspect all of that. before plants can go across state lines. Weights and measures, all right, so most people know I do the gas pumps, so we make sure you get a gallon of gas when you buy a gallon. We also make sure if it says 269.9, and you got 8.7 gallons, that adds up to exactly what you paid for. Then we also check for octane, water, but so that's just one little thing to do. But everything that enters commerce in the state of Alabama we check. So you go to Piggly Wiggly and you go get some grapes and they sell it by so much an ounce. That scale in front of that cash register, we certify that scale. They don't have anything to do with the price. They don't have anything to do with the price of cash. The Attorney General don't have the price of grapes, but it's gonna charge you what it weighs. Yeah, I mean, the true weight. But you just keep extrapolating out. So sand and gravel, you order 5 tons of sand and gravel. We inspecting scales there. You bet forestry trucks that are up and down the road, you know, and then the state troop love pull them over, larger trucks. And, you know, it's us that has to certify the scales that they're using, whatever. I think they can weigh up to 88,000 pounds, but gotta weigh less than 22,000 pounds per axle. But anyway, that's all of our responsibility to make sure the scales are right. Anyway, but like, I think it says price code scanner. Go in the grocery store, it says can of green beans, 87 cents, 10 for $1.50. Well, we got the responsibility to make sure that price scanner gives you, if you bought 2 for $1.50 and not 87 cents times 2. A huge responsibility. Like I said, we don't care what you charge for your green beans. You just gonna charge what you said on that sign, and that's our responsibility. And, you know, well, so, of course, y'all know that the term farm market is obviously not copyrighted. So anybody call anything farm market, but we spent a lot, I don't have the statistics, it's not up there, but I think 15, 18 years ago, there were 17 or so farmers market, legitimate farmers markets in the state. Now there's literally hundreds and hundreds. We operate the 4th largest senior farmers market nutrition program. So by that, if you make it for a certain level, we'll give you a debit card. We actually keep the card, and then every year we load it with $50. And $50 goes a pretty long way in a farmer's market to buy raw food. You can't buy processed food, and it's got to be from Alabama. But what's wrong with it? And there's something you could ask for. We do actually certify some farmers market, and I don't remember what it says up there. 80% of them have got to be grown by the farmer that's selling them. And in a state sanctioned farmers market, 70%, I think. All right, that's it. So I will tell you, yes, sir. Go right to question.
Yes, you mentioned an agriculture easement. Tell us about that.
Well, you know, when my dad got sick, put some of our low line in a wetland reserve easement, and it works just like that. You just have to, I think they'll give you to get it appraised, give you 75 cents on the state. I got to work it out with the state. They said, we'll have to come up with 25%. Actually, USDA will come up with 50%. They pay the farmer 75% of the appraised value. He can continue to farm and continue to use it, just can't subdivide it. It does allow you to, if your children want to come back and build a farm, build a house, you can do that. You just can't go in. But then you don't have to farm, you can't develop on it.
So the purpose of it is to not develop that land. It's to farm.
If that farmer wants to do it, it's all volunteer.
Okay. And tell us about that local food. I mean, I'd love to buy local food. I don't really know where.
Go to sweetgrown.alabama.org and you can be surprised how many wares there are.
Sweet
Grown Alabama. And I'll be giving one of the books.
It's on the.
It's on here.
It's on the back and it's in the middle of it. Wow. Yeah. But that other card she gave you is kind of helpful. So don't be wanting strawberries and daggum November. You gotta kind of stay within the system a little bit. If you want local, now you can get strawberry this time of year, but they're gonna come from greenhouse in Mexico or California or somewhere else.
Rick, you want to introduce your coworker?
Yeah, this is Emma Wiltshire. She's been with me about a month and a half, I guess, 2 months. Yeah, so it's helpful. I was running so late, in fact, I left both my phones at the office, just so you can feel naked. I was on her phone the whole way down here to all the people. And, but yeah, she does a good job for us. I actually hired her from Riverbank. Yeah, had a guy that worked for me that left. Yes, sir.
What's the number one product we export?
Forestry is by far, you know, if you looked at them and sort of in relation to forestry here, poultry probably here, then you drop down, still a lot of money, I think cow calf right in there, and then you get in a row crop and stuff, but yeah, there's no comparison with forestry. As far as the, well, I mean, the investment in any year, it's like $500 million putting, because all the people from Canada in the Northwest know they're trying to run them out of business up there because of environmental things. They come here, we got more trees than we don't know what to do with it. Back down around Monroeville, I visited about 6 months ago, but it's Georgia Pacific Cellulose. So they take wood and kind of put it in a pressure cooker and break it down to lignin and cellulose, and that stuff goes into everything, toothpaste, ice cream, you know, anything that maybe wouldn't hold up together. But it's the largest consumer of wood products in North America, not Alabama, not America, but North America. And I'm telling you, I've left Selma. I go Selma and left Selma. You just on county roads from Selma all the way to that place in Monroe. I never saw a tree cut down. Now, I know somebody cut because they're the largest consumer, but literally I don't know where they were getting it. But see, they can take brush tops and bark because they're gonna boil it down. So yeah, it's a huge. You know, you got the people making timbers and lumber, but all the way down to the sawdust and the limbs and stuff. There's other companies that use it. So, but yeah, huge exporter of poultry too. But we're a net importer because we've got to get so many flipping chickens, and catfish and cows. We probably had to import 70% of our corn, probably 70% of our soybeans. So yeah, we don't even come close in Alabama. Not talking about feeding y'all. I'm just talking about feeding the animals in the state with what we grow. Nursery and greenhouse is a big thing too. Somebody in the back had a question. Yes, sir.
What's your opinion on all these solar farms that keep coming up? You don't do anything for land there.
Well, you know, it's like getting in anybody here with alpha. But anyway, you know, it's sort of like you start telling people what they can do with the land, so you start, you know, it's like selling to a subdivision. I know as a society, we wish people that own good farmland wouldn't sell out to a subdivision and wouldn't sell out to solar farms, but it's kind of not American to go say you got to farm it and it's worth $40,000 an acre here, 5,000 here. I think that's gonna change because I actually there was about 300 people protesting a solar farm in South Montgomery County, and they asked me to come. And so somebody asked a question to the guy that was putting the solar farm in: does this work economically? And he said, no, it does not work without subsidy. So if the government would make them stand on their own, if they're a viable business, then do it. If you can make enough electricity, pay for all the panels, sell it. But under the previous administration, we subsidized that stuff to the point they knew exactly how much they needed to subsidize to make it profit. But what you're having, like in South Montgomery, you know, what are they drawing? Meta in there, and another huge one. You already got Hyundai all there within a mile or two of each other. And those things are just absorb electricity. They just need so much out of the data center. And so it's really the power company being responsible, Alabama Power being responsible. I'm not faulting them, but saying we don't have the capacity, don't have time to build enough new dams or whatever they were going to do. And we can get somebody else to add power into our grid, that's probably good for us too. So, yeah, but nobody's for solar farm except the guy that sold the land for the.
I just want to tell you, thank you for all your Rotary service that you've provided through the years. Rick's not only the past president of the Montgomery Rotary Club, but he was very, very active with our district as a Rotary leadership instructor for our training that we did for years and years. So thank you for all the Rotary things that you've done. And he also helped me give Governor Kay Ivey her Paul Harris Award a couple of years ago in Montgomery. So thank you.
The governor's a member of our club, along with, we got 2 or 3 Supreme Court justices and young Boozer and some different ones, but yeah, but I guess I'm not supposed to tell you all this, but yeah, I did that Rotary Leadership Institute. I was in charge of it for 4 or 5 years, and I mean, it's really like they handed me a box, and there was like a pair of sandals in there, and this is what the Rotary Leadership Institute had been. It's nothing, nobody's ever held it. And so we did stand it up, and it was pretty viable until I started. I had to give it up when I started running. Asked to, but I didn't have time to do it. But anyway, so they said, well, you've got an award from the district. I said, what is it? And it was the Jerry Brunson Unsung Hero Award. I said, well, you can't even tell people you wouldn't know the hero. But still, but I will tell you one story about Ken Pate.
Mr. Pate, thank you very much for the time. Well, I know you'll be here.
Okay, good.
I truly appreciate you being here. We really wish we had more time. It's fantastic. If you will, just wait. I know several officers but themselves have a few questions that we'd like to cover. Thank you for everyone for being here today. Thank you everyone, all volunteers for being discounted. Rick will be back next week. Thank you very much for allowing me to fill in. Next week's speaker will be Colton Currington, Chamber update on economic development. A board meeting on the 17th. Let's all stand for the 4-way test. Things we think, say, and do. Next week we'll have a board meeting on the 17th. Thank you. Go and see well. Thank you.